Hi everyone. Well, I just want to talk about the Swiss Army knife. These are 4 knives that I have. I have no idea who they were. Right? But anyway, the first Swiss Army knife I got was given to me by my mother. It's not this particular knife, but it was a knife like this, and I wore it out in pretty quick time. This is just your basic knife: 2 blades, the screwdriver, the can opener, and of course the tweezers and the pick. The next one that I got, also given to me by my mother, was this particular one. It's an officer model. Not this particular knife, actually, but one very much like it. It's the Victorinox officer model. And it has the scissors and the saw, and, of course the 2 blades, the screwdriver, and the can opener, along with the awl and the corkscrew with a little ring, right? And I used this particular knife, or the officer model, up until about 2008, when I broke it, and but I picked up another one. But in the course of my investigating the Swiss Army knives, I came across the Ranger model. Alright. I have to tell you, I was kind of knocked out by this because it had a file. And it has everything that this particular knife had, but plus the file. And also it had another screwdriver here on the back here, along with the corkscrew and so on. It's a basic standard knife. And then, I'd been carrying this for a couple of years, and I ran into a guy one time, and we got talking about knives, and he had one of these, but in black, with a black handle. This is an Outrider, and it has a lock blade, which is quite nice. And it also has the saw. It has a real nice Phillips screwdriver in it. You can check out my video on this, but I'm not going to go into all the details of these. It's just that the Swiss Army knife, never leave home without it, because it really doesn't matter which model you have. It's one of those tools that, can get you out of a bind. I remember being in the Margaree Valley, that's in Cape Breton. This would have been back in '89, and a rad hose went. And the only tool that I had was one of these. And I took the rad hose off, and I shortened it, and I was able to get it back on the engine. And the next thing you know, I'm pulling into a Chrysler dealership to get a new rad hose, in Sydney. So, that's like an hour and a half away. It got me out of that bind with this, right? It's the kind of thing I have done so many different things with the Swiss Army knife. It's not funny. I've mounted scopes with it. I've tightened up the screws on my rifle. I've worked on my car with it, and you know, everything. It's just one of those tools, right? Now, having said that, you know, except for this one here, but these three where they have the saw blade, right, and with this, you can pretty well do virtually anything in bushcraft with it, right? Now, will it replace a K-bar? Will it replace a Bark River or one of the top quality bushcraft knives? Of course not. No, it doesn't. Does it replace a machete? No, it doesn't. But, you know, in an emergency, any one of these three knives, I would have no problems whatsoever, you know, building a shelter, doing what I had to do in an emergency situation. The Swiss Army knife is just one of those things. It's an incredible tool, extremely well thought out. I've looked at the Wanger ones too, Wagner or Wanger, or however it's pronounced. Forgive me, you know, any Germans or Swiss. You know, I'm not really good at that. But the thing is that this one also has a little camping thing with it. The thing is that their product is quite extremely well. These are Victorinox, and you know, they're quite nice. This is not the Oxford. This is the Huntsman. Sorry, the Huntsman. Yeah. Sorry about that. But all of these knives, you know, will do whatever, right? You know, when I go into town, I usually take either this one or this one. When I'm out in the bush or I'm around the property, I usually have that in my pocket. Now, there last week, I took the tip of that finger off, closing this knife with one hand. I got it kind of sharp. But anyway, you know, the Swiss Army knife is one of those little multi-tools. And, you know, and of course it doesn't compare to the multi-tools with pliers, so on and so forth. But what I like about these is they're very compact, right? And, you know, a Leatherman, you know, some of the Leatherman products are absolutely gorgeous. My brother has a Leatherman, and they are really nice. But, you know, for me, you know, any one of these three, any one, and another one is the camper, just the basic camper knife, which is basically this knife with a saw, right? Slightly bigger than this, but it basically has the two blades, the screwdriver, the can opener. It also has a corkscrew and the awl/drill, right? And you know, all you know, so any of them. But the Swiss Army knife is really it's quite a nice knife to have. I don't plan on collecting all of the models and stuff like this. That's not what I'm into. Stuff is practical for me, right? This one here has got a logo on it for some company named Parker Customer Support, whatever that is. But anyway, you know, if you don't have a Swiss Army knife, right, you should pick one up. I mean, it's something you can keep in your pocket or your purse, or and it gives you a bunch of tools. Like I said, this one here, the Ranger, this with the file, jeez, that's just it's just an incredible knife. You know, it's the one that I carry when I'm traveling, right? But around the property, it's the lock blade because, you know, I want a good solid blade. But this you know, this is a great knife. For bushcraft, this is great. I remember seeing a video where a guy just went out in the woods with one of them, and that's all he had. Now, I would want a little more. I'd prefer a machete and a good Mora, or you know, a good standard knife, fixed blade knife. But if this is all I had, I wouldn't have a problem. Same way with this or this. Any of those three. I can build my shelter and I can get my firewood. Right? I wouldn't go batoning with it, but you know, with the saw you can actually do quite a bit. And you can cut up a lot of small stuff until you, with the saw, and this is actually 3 inches long. So you can cut a fairly substantial chunk of wood with it. But anyway, that's all I got to say on this. Like the Swiss Army knife, I really think is one of those tools everybody should have, and I highly recommend it. Till the next time.